What's up everybody, Sean the Hammer Ninja here, and first let me just say thank you. If you're watching this video, it means you tried the $5 try a hammer deal, and I hope you really enjoyed the next month of your training. Just to get a fair assessment of what's going on with the hammer, I'm not gonna say quit doing what you're already doing. Like if you're already in the process of working through a program, stick to what you're doing. But if you're working with a coach, go ahead and reach out and say, hey, I wanna try this thing for a month, what should I do? Just to make sure you're not gonna derail anything. Today, we're gonna talk about 3 very simple movements. It's how you're gonna spend your first week of primary volume training. Okay, we're gonna spend other days, so we're gonna do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I want you to spend Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and there are gonna be videos for these. You're gonna spend that time after a good warm-up, just working through some more odd variations with the hammer. The way this piece of equipment works and the way that I found I've enjoyed the training with it the most is taking those movements that are kind of direct analogs of things I already understand and using them in a very similar manner. So we're gonna talk today about front support squats, doing them like air squats, and building the volume that way because the weight is relatively low. And then taking other training days and just kind of playing around with the hammer and seeing what it's capable of or what I'm capable of doing with it. And it's been really exciting to find new ranges of motion and different ways to use it. So in some regards, we're gonna do more traditional volume loading, and in some regards, we're gonna do just more play-based, see what we can get after. Today, we're gonna talk about 3 movements. We're gonna talk about a swing. So if you've done kettlebell before, it's almost a direct analog. If you've not done kettlebell before, then we're gonna talk about that a little bit. We're gonna do front support squats, and then we're going to do a 360 or a progressive 360. Each of these movements are fairly fundamental, so as we move deeper into the program, more complicated stuff is born from the simplicity of these 3 things. So yeah, starting with the squat, or the swing, all right? We're gonna talk about feet being slightly more than shoulder width apart. Here's shoulder width apart, here's slightly more than shoulder width apart, okay? Or the shoulder width that I wish I had. The hammer is gonna be a fairly decent distance in front of, actually you guys can't see this, can you? So I should back up, all right. A fairly decent distance in front of my body. So if I'm standing directly over the hammer, one big pace back is gonna be just about correct because I'm gonna get into a position that allows me to properly load, okay? And what I'm looking for here is if I reach out and grab the handle, right there about 2 inches away from the pommel, I should have a straight line from my shoulder through the handle of the hammer all the way down into the ground. What this gives me is the ability, when I stand up with this, the hammer is gonna drift back and we're already gonna be dealing with some gravitational force loading me into the swing. As I'm here, I should feel my hamstrings tighten up, my back, spine is nice and tall, okay, but I'm kind of neutral, all right? I'm not overly hunched forward, I'm not hyperextended, I've just got a nice tall spine, so you just go, okay, abs are turned on, glutes are turned on. From here, shoot my butt back, grab the handle and pull it down towards my body, all right? Now we're ready to go, okay? So from here, all I'm going to do is stand up, think about squishing your heels into the ground like you're making sure a cockroach is dead, boom. Okay, I'm gonna go back and then glute squeeze, hamstring squeeze, pop. Okay, this is your standard swing or standard kettlebell swing. Okay, there you go. Glute squeeze, glute squeeze. Now, okay, well, before I move on, let's talk about putting the hammer down. We can do this one of 2 ways. I can lean it forward and get back to my starting position, or I find myself in the habit of, I'll release in the back, okay? You're not gonna hurt your hammer, so that's perfectly fine. As you are standing up into this swing, into this squeeze, what I'm looking for is when I'm hinged over, okay, and this is a hip hinge, my knees are behind my toes, okay? Can't really see that. My knees are behind my toes, okay, just like a good kettlebell swing. If I'm drifting forward this way, this is not what I want. It means my quads are loaded, it puts pressure on my knees, and it means my lower back has to do a lot of compensating. So, if you're doing some swings and your lower back is feeling it, put yourself on videotape. You're probably doing that, shooting your knees too far forward. You really shouldn't feel your lower back in this. Maybe a little bit of muscle fatigue, like the same way your abs are gonna feel sore. But if you're feeling like your back is doing a lot of work, that's not what we're looking for, all right? Arms are just along for the ride, okay? I'm not lifting with my shoulders, so you'll find your shoulders going up by your ear if you're doing a lot of contraction here. That's not what we're looking for. And other than that, just kind of find the momentum. Now, as the hammer comes back towards your body, what we're looking for is your arm to become kind of parallel with your spine, and that's the point at which my hips go back, all right? If you're overreaching, your hips are going back before your spine is in this position, and this is also gonna lead to some lower back pain. So again, putting yourself on videotape is gonna be really useful here. If you wanna pause here and give that a try, now's a great time to. I'm gonna kind of keep rolling, so give it a pause, try some swings. If you're not quite getting it, put yourself on tape, go back, watch what you've seen me do so far, and if you're still not getting it, if you're just like, this just doesn't make any sense, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, comment on the video, just let me know which thing. Anyway, we're moving on to a front support squat. Now, here, you can do this front support squat with your feet a little bit more than shoulder width apart like we did on the swing, or you can walk them a little bit closer together. It's kind of whatever you're comfortable with. One thing that we do want to make sure of is A, you're squatting to the greatest depth that your physiology will allow. So don't take it as a standard that you need to get your butt all the way down to the ground. That might not be you, but we should be going as low as you can. And if you're not quite sure how that is, shoot me a direct message. We can give you a couple of tests. But I do want to make sure that when I am squatting, my knees are driving out over my middle toe to make room for my hips to drop down between them. So if my knees are coming in, my hips have to go out and around my knees to really get down. Whereas if my knees drift out a little bit, my hips have room to drop straight down, and then I can stay tall in my squat while keeping my heels down. Okay, if my knees come in, there's no way that's gonna happen. And I end up with a hunchback, or to keep it tall, I have to drive my heels up off the ground. Both of these are things we really don't want. What you're gonna do is we're gonna start with a swing, and we're gonna pull that hammer up into what we call front support. Front support is 2 hands on the hammer, elbows are 90 degrees, squeezed in with your lats. So imagine you're making lemonade, squeezing the lemons in between your arms. Okay, boom, stinky lemons. I just made that up and it's kind of gross. So I'm gonna pull up, here's my swing, all right? Here's my front support, okay? Elbows at 90, lats are squeezed. I can see right over top of the hammer. From here, knees drift apart, letting my body sit in nice and tall, okay? Now, the farther I sit my hammer away from my body, the more I can lean back. If I pull it in, my chest is gonna come a little bit closer, further to center, okay? When we're ready to stand up, drive through the heel and open, okay? That one's a little bit easier to control than the swing, okay? The swing, if you're getting off on the rhythm, best to just put the hammer down, kind of shake it out, and then come back to it. If you're getting off on the squat, we might need to think about, let's pull back on the shoulders a little bit. The reason I like the BAMF hammer for this movement in particular is it's gonna pretty easily show you if you're hunched over and rounded. It's not gonna feel good through your neck. It's not gonna feel good in your arms. As opposed to, if I'm pulled back and my lats are engaged, it's gonna be very easy to sit in this position, okay? So, nice and tall, arms at 90, and then we sit. Again, focusing on the tallest spine possible, all right? That's movement number 2. Again, now's a good time to take a pause, film yourself doing some reps, watch the video, go back, watch the squat, see if there are any differences or if there are any similarities. If you're not having an easy time with it, if you've got this kind of a mental block going on, please shoot me a message because I want this to feel good. I want these movements to be great. Last movement, and this is the one where we're probably going to run into the most difficulty. So we're used to kind of hip hinging, sending the hips back like a swing. We're used to knee bending, okay, squatting all the way down. If you've got a fitness background at all, we're kind of used to those things. The difficulty comes in shoulder rotation, okay? And this is one of the big advantages of training with the BAMF hammer, but if you've never done it before, it can be really difficult in the beginning. So I'm gonna show you an ideal of a hammer 360, and then I'm gonna talk you through progressions. I can't say this enough, if your flexibility, if your mobility does not allow you to do this movement, please do not add dynamic load to this because it can lead to injury, and that is not the goal of this trial period, okay? We're gonna slowly progress into this, and we're gonna take the reps relatively slowly. We're gonna keep the volume really low, and then we're gonna be talking about some stretching, which I want you to go back into the movement catalog with the BAMF hammer on the YouTube page and just kind of check out some of those, but we'll talk about that later. So, 360, all right? I'm gonna get swing, I'm gonna pull the hammer up to the front, all right? I've got the largest face pointing towards my body, okay? Here's smallest face towards my body, largest face towards my body. This is ideal, so whichever hand is on top, I'm gonna go that way. So if you extend the index finger of the hand that's on top, let's get in so you can see this. If I extend that finger, that's the way I'm gonna go, okay? So my right hand is on top, I'm gonna go to the left, all right? I'm gonna send it off straight off the shoulder. I'm gonna bring it around my back, and I'm gonna bring it back on the other shoulder. So it's over and back, okay? Over, back, over, back. Now, I've done a lot of these. So if you don't naturally flow that way, that's okay. We're going to build you into this, and here's how we do it. We're gonna take the hammer to one shoulder, we're gonna take it to your back, we're gonna take it to the other shoulder, and then we're gonna bring it back to the front, and there are gonna be pauses in each one of these. There's also a rotation that happens, so ideally, the fattest, the same face, and actually if you are having a difficult time getting this, take a piece of chalk and draw on the face of the hammer in chalk, like put a star on it, put a number on it. That face should be towards your body the whole way around, okay? So, what I'm gonna do, back up to front support. To get to my left shoulder, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drive the hammer to my shoulder, and I'm gonna put my right elbow over my head. So I'm here, boom, okay? That's step one, all right? Now we're gonna take it to my back. So my right elbow comes over my head and drifts back. This is gonna be the tricky part. Now my left elbow is gonna come from behind and cross over my head. Boom, and I put the hammer on my shoulder, little adjustment, and then I can drop my left elbow, boom, and bring it back to the front. So moving it a little faster, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? If you hit yourself in the back of the head, don't worry. The hammer's made of rubber for multiple reasons. That's one of them. Hopefully you don't hit yourself too hard. Don't do it again. But slowly take that progress. Because if your shoulders are brittle in their mobility ranges, that's gonna be kind of difficult, all right? So play with those things. Again, don't try and move dynamically if you're really not comfortable with this, okay? Especially if you've done mace work before, Indian clubs, you're gonna have a little bit more mobility through the shoulder, so use that if you want to. But if not, be content to just take the rotation. What we're looking for in the rotation, abs turned on, glutes turned on. So my shoulders are gonna roll, but I'm trying to limit the mobility of my the motion of my upper body as much as possible. What I don't wanna see, we'll go the other way this time. What I don't wanna see is a lot of overreaching. So like, whoa, big crazy spine. If your hips are moving around in circles, that's not what we're looking for. The goal is to be stable, squeeze glutes, squeeze quads, squeeze abs, and then be able to move the shoulders around. We want a stable base of core and then a very functional base of arms and legs, all right? So those are your 3 movements. Now let's talk about what we're gonna do for a workout. Get in a good warm-up, okay? I've posted some videos online of the warm-ups, okay? Really get in a good warm-up, make sure your shoulders are nice and warm. Hopefully you're well hydrated. And then what I want you to do, you're gonna do 20 swings per arm, okay? 20 on the left, 20 on the right. No, left, right. Don't worry about switching hands right now. We're gonna get to that. 20 per arm, so we're gonna do 40 swings total. If your hamstrings start to really feel bad, if your lower back starts to ache, don't continue, okay? Shoot me a message. Let's take a look at what your mobility looks like. Let's make sure we're getting a good, effective swing. But again, we're gonna look for 20 per hand, okay? Then we're gonna go into 15 squats, and then I want you to take 7 360's in each direction. So 7 on the left, 7 on the right. Set a timer. When you start the timer, you're gonna start your swings. When you're done, give yourself half the time that it took you to complete the workout to rest, then we're gonna go again, okay? Whichever your rest time is after your first round, that's gonna stay the same. So as we continue to drive into this, you're going to get, the rest time stays the same. You might work for longer, but the rest time is gonna stay the same, okay? And over time, we're gonna spend a lot of time manipulating rest rather than manipulating volume to kind of give you some ideas of how we can get better at this. Be ready for your forearms to really, really ache. Go into the movement log and take a look at the forearm stretches that we've talked about. But that's what you're gonna do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of this week, okay? So this workout is gonna stay the same. Tomorrow, Thursday, and Saturday, I'm gonna put up a new video. It's gonna be much shorter for the different movements that we're just gonna mess around with. So we'll start talking about changing hands in the swing and some other stuff. Chop lunges, it'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, that's this video. It took a long time. These individual workout videos are probably gonna be longer. Yeah, I hope you have a really good time with your hammer. Be okay with being a new student to this. Really put your brain into what is happening in your body. See what the hammer is teaching you. It makes me sound like a crazy super hippie, but your body and the hammer are communicating, okay? It's teaching your physiology how to do something. So if you're paying attention, you're gonna learn a lot from it. If you're trying to like bend it to your will, it's really not gonna work out as well because this thing is just a big dumb hammer. You have the ability to be flexible and pliable, so use that to your advantage, okay? I'm gonna take and go through a couple of reps of everything and to give you like a reference point so we can continue, you'll be able to continue to like look back at it. And I'll put it all here at the end of the video so you don't have to like slog through everything else. But yeah, 5 rounds, 40 swings, 20 per hand. Then you're gonna go 15 squats and 7 360's in each direction. Only doing the 360 to the degree that your mobility will allow. So I'll show both of those, all right? Have a good time. Can everybody see? You guys can't hear me, all right? So here's our swing, okay? Again, snapping those hips off, really squeezing your quads, squeezing your abs, everything should be nice and tight. Here's the other hand, pop. This hand can kind of do whatever, boom. Just don't put it on your hip. Keep the shoulders pulled back. Then we're gonna go into our squats, pull it right up. Reset the feet if you want to. Nice tall spine, stand. Tall spine, stand. Looking over the top of your hammer, keeping your heels down. And then finally, we go 360. Here we go, dynamic. That hand goes that way. Switch hands and go the other way. This one will do slower progress. Shoulder, back, shoulder, forward, shoulder, back, shoulder, forward. Okay? Enjoy! Yes, less than 20 minutes.